We're here in front of the Neil Armstrong Space Exploration Gallery, and this is a fantastic interactive gallery at Cincinnati Museum Center. We tell the story of Neil Armstrong, who has great ties to Cincinnati. We'll get to see his moon rock, some of the things that he carried with him into space. We also have a great space theater that talks about the Apollo missions, the Artemis missions coming up, and getting back to Mars. And we'll also explore some of the engineering challenges about how we get back to the moon and to Mars.
Yes, let's go check it out. Oh, I love.
So here we are in our Neil Armstrong section. Of course, Neil Armstrong is most famous for being the first man to land on the moon.
Yes.
And he was part of a trio of astronauts, of course, who were part of that Apollo 11 mission. But that is not the end of the story.
Ooh.
NASA tells us that this concept called 400,000 shoulders.
I love
meaning
this.
that there is a whole group of people upon whose shoulders these three astronauts are standing. So you need mission control specialists, you need mathematicians, you need X-ray technicians, you need all kinds of folks helping make this mission happen. So we try to highlight a lot of them.
Well, in our episode, the kids meet Katherine Johnson.
Oh, wonderful.
And so she's one of the 400,000 shoulders that these astronauts get to say supported their journey to orbit. I think she's featured even. There she is.
Katherine Johnson, of course, made famous by the movie Hidden Figures, was a really key part of making some of the calculations that were needed to get us onto the moon. We understand that all of the technology that was needed to get to the moon now would fit within like a digital watch or an Apple Watch. But then it was very early technology, and so they needed a lot of it. They needed it to be backed up by human calculations to be sure that we were getting down to the moon safely.
That's amazing. Now I see a spacesuit. I also see this is a space jacket. What are we looking at here?
So these are two great loans from the National Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian. This is Neil Armstrong's flight jacket. So this is actually something that he wore as he was training. We have a mission patch from Apollo 11.
Oh, cool.
Each mission into space creates its own symbolism, its own patch. And here is a replica of Neil Armstrong's spacesuit. So this is an exact replica of what he was wearing when he landed on the moon, which is really exciting. And then behind you is also an interactive where you can put your face into the Snoopy cap, which is that cap that astronauts wore that helps them communicate with mission control and with the lander. And so you can actually put yourself in a picture and imagine yourself as an astronaut as well.
That's really cool. Now you said his moon rock is here.
It is.
Can we see this moon rock?
And in fact, we're hearing Neil Armstrong's voice in the background telling us the story about this moon rock.
Okay.
So each of the astronauts on the Apollo missions got to contribute or lend their moon rock to a museum. And Neil Armstrong gave his here to Cincinnati Museum Center. You may or may not know, Neil is from Ohio. After he came back from the moon, he taught aeronautical engineering at the University of Cincinnati.
Yes.
And he sat on the board of trustees of Cincinnati Museum Center.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, he was head of the board for the Museum of Natural History and Science at the time when we decided to move into Union Terminal and join the History Museum and the Children's Museum. So he's a really big part not only of Cincinnati's story, but also of the museum's story. And what we can hear is him telling a story about this rock. It's really charming. He named the rock Bach, B-O-K, Bach the Rock. And he created this story about how it came to be over millions and billions of years. How it was on the moon, how maybe it felt when he picked it up and brought it back to Earth. And he has written a children's book called Bach the Rock, actually, that's very charming. And so I love this because I think it shows how scientists are human beings. I mean, we all love stories, right?
Yes.
And so he was obviously an incredible scientist, but he also had this great imagination and just a little touch of whimsy.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the way that he
That's awesome.
brought his moon rock here.
Bach the Rock. We have to check it out. So then we can venture through to see even more.
Absolutely. And so we're passing a couple other folks. Again, in the exhibition, we wanted to highlight people who have different careers related to space. some folks were part of the original Apollo missions. These folks are a set of professionals who are working today. So we have astronomers, we have NASA project managers, we have modern day astronauts, we have folks who are supporting missions back to space in various ways. Just to highlight those. And now we're working into the astronomy gallery. So this is about looking up at space from Earth. Yep, you can see. This is the concept of gravity and how gravity bends around something's mass. So this relates to the theory of space-time relativity, which is complex to understand, but this makes it,
easy to see.
Yeah, so you can experience it yourself. You can bend space around your mass.
I love that.
And then we also have an experience over here that I find very calming, but it is bringing imagery from the Hubble Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, and just showcasing that on the ceiling so folks can grab a beanbag and just kind of space out for a minute
relax.
And just appreciate the beauty of the universe.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. We also talk about a couple basic astronomical concepts. So we have a moon phases interactive up here to help folks understand why we see phases of the moon from Earth. And we also talk about constellations. People have been finding figures and stories in the stars forever.
Yes.
From all kinds of different
Every
cultures.
culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what we may call Orion or the Big Dipper, another culture may call something completely different. So
that's amazing.
We highlight how the Romans saw the stars, the Aztec, the Mesopotamians, the Egyptians, as well as some of the common constellations we know today.
I just know in our culture, I'm thankful for how we've been able to navigate because so many people found freedom navigating using the stars.
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Here in Cincinnati that we know
Yes.
from our friends over at the National Underground Railroad.
Yes. Now this place, this looks really cool.
This is a really neat immersive experience. So we're walking into our space theater, and we have 3 programs that run. One is about the Apollo missions that first got us to the moon. The second is about the Artemis missions, and Artemis 2 is just getting ready to launch, where we're going to take people back to the moon. And then the third is about what it will take to get to Mars and beyond. So this is a great way of weaving together history and the present and the future of where we're heading with the space program. And as you can see, we're projecting on every surface.
Yeah.
So it's a really great immersive experience.
Really, really cool. I've actually met some of the astronauts that you
have you
featured.
really?
Yeah, they came to the National Society of Black Engineers.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a wonderful experience talking about what it takes to become an astronaut. They were so sweet and just wonderful people. So I'm so happy to see them featured here.
Yeah, me too. And as you know, so the Apollo missions first got us to the moon.
Yeah.
The Artemis missions are named after Apollo's twin sister in Greek mythology. And we know that the next team to land on the moon will include a female astronaut, which is very exciting.
It's very exciting. We need more women in science, and
Yes,
I'm
we do.
excited to see them going to great heights. The moon can't go any further than that. Now this space, it says learning from Earth. Tell us more about this area.
So this Explore section is about some of the engineering challenges that we need to figure out, and we need kids to help us figure out, our next generation of scientists and engineers, as we think about going back to the moon and then to Mars and beyond. So this is a very interactive gallery. You can plan a mission.
Oh, I see.
You can choose your payload, the skills you need in your team, the module that you want to include, the rocket that will help you get to your destination. So this will give you clues, and you sort of plan that out and then see if you got it right when you hit that launch button.
I see.
We also have a neat visual interactive over here where you can look at images from space through different wavelengths of light. So you can look at it through infrared, you can look at it through what our eye can see just naturally. You can also look at it through ultraviolet light. And so this shows you that what we can actually see with our human eyes is really just a small piece of what we can see with other pieces of technology when we look up at space.
That's really cool.
This is a fun interactive that lets you create craters in simulated moon sediment. And so this looks at how craters are created on the moon, what we see when we go to the moon on some of those missions. So this is kind of fun. You can pressurize the arm, and then it will shoot a puff of air and simulate a crater.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. And then over here, I'll just point this out, you can program some of our Mars rover robots. So
Now you're speaking my language.
yeah. This is a really simple coding interactive, and it just sort of teaches us how you need to be really explicit with these rover robots of telling them to go, a few steps forward, a few steps to the right, a few steps to the left, and program them to do different things like move around some rocks, scoop up some of these balls that sort of simulate when they're collecting samples on the surface of Mars that we can bring back and analyze here on Earth.
This is nice. I love robotics and building different types of robots.
Absolutely.
So I think I would spend a whole lot of time here.
Excellent. And then this last one is really fun. It's thinking about astronaut training and what it takes in communication between a pilot and a commander. So if you think about it, when someone is down on the surface of a planet and someone else is in either the lander or the command module, or even from the command center in Houston, you're trying to tell a person to do a thing that you're not there to guide them in person. So this is about clear communication. It's about sometimes that communication delay and how teams work together to accomplish these NASA missions.
Now that's really nice. I feel like we need these types of skills even on Earth.
Absolutely. So this is a fun one to play with a buddy, because you can pair up with someone and have them give you instructions on your mission and see how easy those are to follow or not. This is a nice melding of science and history as well.
I love that. I remember some really cool things that have happened in my life. I remember where I was when I saw, and I can only imagine if you had the option to see the moon landing, how impactful that was.
Yes.
Because it was a space race too. So it was almost like we did it. It was a sense of accomplishment for the entire country.
It was nice to have everybody focused on that sort of one event, that one point, with so much hope and excitement. And then this last gallery we call Protect, and this is about looking back at Earth from space. So, sometimes we talk about things that could be really exciting, like terraforming Mars or building a human settlement on Mars or the moon, and that is exciting. However, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that Earth is what we call a Goldilocks planet. It is just right for human habitation. And so we are learning things about the Earth through satellite imagery and through some of the space research and science that's been going on that can help us protect this planet and keep it a hospitable place for humans to live for many years to come. So you'll see on these screens, there is a lot of imagery that's coming back from satellites, from space, that's telling us about Earth. We also have some of these sliders, so you can see the difference in. We do have some sliders where you can see the temperature, for instance, at the polar ice caps, and the difference between years that they've been collecting data. So we find that satellite imagery helps us see change over time and tells us about the health of the planet, and gives us an alert, really, that we need to change the way we live and pull some of our solutions from the science and the ingenuity that the human race has in order to keep this a good place for humans to live. And of course, our sort of mascot for the gallery is our polar bear. We affectionately have named him Barry White, and he's a fan favorite here at Museum Center. And he stands as a symbol of one of the animals that may be at risk, that is at risk as his ecosystem changes and food sources diminish. And he and other polar bears, of course, are forced to adapt as that climate changes.
I just want to say thank you. This was a wonderful tour. I've learned so much. If you have not been to the Cincinnati Museum Center, come check it out. We didn't even get to go through every single display. There's so much to learn, so much to see. And Whitney, thank you for showing us around. I hope you enjoy this beyond the episode. Cincinnati Museum Center, the Neil Armstrong Space Exploration Gallery.
Thank you.